Am I the antagonist for asking my GF to stop spending money on immature crap? My 35 male, GF, 26 female, has just graduated with a master's in AI from a very prestigious university. Obviously, she was scooped up by a big tech company right after, and now makes a salary well over 6 figures. She now has her own place after living with 4 roommates for 2 years. As far as I know, she is responsible with her taxes, has basically no debt, she had full funding and went to a CC for undergrad, is always on time for rent, etc. She also almost never eats takeout or drinks, and does put money aside for savings. The problem is what she does with her free money or personal use money. Her apartment is always filled with the dumbest, most immature shit imaginable. She bought a massively expensive gaming computer, she has a full Lego set of the ship from Star Trek, she bought a sword, a big framed original painting depicting a scene from Lord of the Rings, overpriced vinyl records, etc. Every time I G over there she has some new weird decor item, and every time I think, why is she doing this? So one day I went over and she proudly showed me her desk with fancy rainbow lights, which must have cost a fortune. I calmly sat her down and told her that she was wasting all her money on these ridiculous things. I told her she would be better off saving for a down payment on a house she rents, or investing in the stock market, or even buying a good investment artwork instead of her weird Tolkien stuff. I'm genuinely concerned that this is leading to financial irresponsibility, and once she is fired from her fancy tech job, she will be left without a solid financial foundation. She called me a jerk and told me that since it's her money she can do what she wants. I told her I was looking out for her, after which she called me controlling. She hasn't spoken to me in almost a day. Am I the antagonist? YTA. Yup. It's her own money. She studied hard and now she can have things she likes. She's paying her bills and stuff, and she decorates her home with things she enjoys. Honestly, I wonder how you could have missed she liked those things. You came across as very belittling. Who do you think you are to tell a grown-up woman how she spends her money? Also, you sound like the faction adults can't have funny things. Only work and adulthood. No fun. No hobbies but sports and cooking. I'm 31. I'm responsible and have saved up a lot of money, and still I like things like that, not gonna lie. She sounds fun and her taste sounds like we should be friends. You describing something your partner likes as immature crap is terrible and does not sound like you're saying eye to eye. Your whole story sounds as if you were looking down on her, and TBH, if you had not written your status I would have assumed you're her father. You guys don't sound compatible. YTA. Why do you think she will be fired from her job? She isn't using your money and isn't struggling, so let her get enjoyment from what she likes to spend her money on. Stop being insecure and maybe celebrate her career and academic success like a decent partner would. When she gets fired from her fancy tech job, I smell an insecurity complex. You're not upset that she's buying luxury items, you're upset that you can't. You're jealous and insecure because of your girlfriend's success, and whenever you see her expensive new toys, which sound pretty ducking cool BTW, it rubs it in your face. Her finances are fine, you said so yourself. So save your patronizing little talk and go to therapy to work on why you feel so threatened by her success that you need to believe it's temporary, and also feel the need to talk down to her and give her advice about how to spend her own money in order to feel better about yourself. Oh, you're the a-hole. She graduated without debt and immediately got a great job. She pays her bills and she allows herself a certain amount of mad money to spend on whatever she likes, and you don't approve of her choices. I am sure you have certain things that you spend money on that other people would find to be a waste of money. She would be better off without you because you are controlling. Hopefully she dumps you and finds someone who doesn't try and control every part of her life and appreciates her. Am I the antagonist for asking my girlfriend to pay for the wine glass she broke? A few days ago, my girlfriend Trish, not her real name, was cleaning the kitchen windows. In the midst of her cleaning, she accidentally knocked over a dish from the drying rack, and that dish landed on and shattered an expensive wine glass of mine. I say mine because it was given to me by my mother as a Christmas gift last year. The glass retails for around $120. When she told me she had broken the glass by accident, which she was very nervous about because she knew the glass was expensive, we had a discussion, may classify this as an argument, that lasted 3 days about how it would get replaced and who would pay. After all of this talking, she finally, she says, gave in and gave me 40% of the cost to replace the glass. I had initially asked that she replace the glass in full, but after discussion realized if we are partners, it would be logical to use the 60/40ths calculation we use for everything else. Background: Trish and I have been living together for about a year. When we initially decided to move in together, we decided to split all expenses 60% per 40% because of our combined income distribution. I make 60% of our gross monthly earnings, she makes 40%. After the initial agreement, Trish has now said she does not feel good about the agreement and wants me to give the money back to her. Her reasoning is that, A, it was a complete accident, and B, she would never want to buy any wine glasses that expensive ever again. My argument is that if we are to live together, we are going to be sharing costs, and inevitably things are going to break and need replacing/repairing. I like this wine glass, again, which was a gift from my mother, and would like to replace it so that we have a matching set once more. More background: I know for a fact that Trish is financially able to reimburse me the 40% and would suffer no undue hardship from the loss of those funds. On the other hand, I am also fully able to replace the glass without it affecting my financial stability. Am I the antagonist for asking Trish to reimburse 40% of the wine glass she broke by accident? Info: why was a $120, presumably delicate, wine glass sitting in or next to a drying rack with regular dishes in the first place? If I had glassware that pricey, it would be washed, dried, and put away after use. ETA, everyone sucks here. You two fought for 3 days over a broken glass? Has the thought that this isn't a great relationship crossed your mind? Frankly, OP, I think you bear some responsibility here. If the glass is that expensive, it should be washed, dried, and put away immediately. Accidents happen, but it wouldn't have if it had not been left on the drying pad. I think her paying 40% is the maximum amount she should pay. If a stranger hits your car on accident, do you go, "No worries, I'll pay to fix it myself"? It would be petty to ask for someone to pay for something they broke on accident. No, you expect when someone breaks something that they make it right. You live together. You aren't married. There is limited legal involvement, depending on where you live and how long you've been together, and dividing assets if you were to split. Because of this, so you both need to treat your personal things with respect. A gift from your mother to you is not mutual property. If she breaks that, she should replace it. It was kind of you to settle on 40%. I am curious if those responding would feel the same if it was their gaming console that was broken. Am I the antagonist for being the only dad at a baby and me group? I'm really nervous writing this, and this whole situation is really bringing me down. So my wife and I, both 50, are parents to a beautiful 7-month-old boy. We have tried for 20 years to have a child, but we were unable to conceive naturally, so our son was born via donors and a surrogate. I'm well aware we are older parents and that we are at a disadvantage to many others, and whilst some people may disagree with this, my wife and I are just extremely happy to finally be able to be parents after wanting it for so long. Anyway, I thought since my son is growing, it would be a good idea to get involved in a baby and me group. I don't know anyone with kids his age, so I thought I could maybe befriend some parents even if they were 20 years younger than me, so my son could finally interact with kids his own age and perhaps grow up with them as friends. The group I went to was just advertised as a baby and me group. It never said anything about being geared towards just mothers, but when I went, it was very oblivious I was the only dad there and, of course, the oldest in the room. I never thought there was an issue, as the people who run it say dads have gone before, and I chatted to some of the mothers, and it seemed like it was the start of maybe a friendship or two for my son. I went home and told my wife I thought it had gone well, and I was quite happy about going again. However, I got an email from the people that run it saying several of the mothers made complaints about me. I was really confused, and when I asked them to elaborate, they said the women complained they feel uncomfortable about having an older man there and want it to be made a mothers-only event. They asked if I would reconsider either getting my wife to bring our son along or if I could just not go anymore. I'm genuinely crushed, as I'm just trying to do right by my boy, but maybe I should have realized my age would make people wary. My wife is furious and wants me to do something about the place where the group is run, but am I the antagonist? ETA, I should have added, by my wife saying I should do something, she was meaning that I complain, blast them on social media, etc. I know I really have no legal recourse. Also, this group was the one that was closest to me, as I live in a small area, so it's really only the other option. Also, I know some women feel comfortable around older men, and for that I am genuinely sympathetic for, but I do feel in this situation I am being singled out. The mothers talked to me like normal, then they clearly talked shit behind my back. They were happy to converse about our children, so why they're being like this. We talked about our children, we played with our respective children, and I didn't do or say anything weird. I was just trying to socialize my son with other infants, and it's really depressing me as due to my age, he doesn't have the chance to be around other kids. My wife and I were born in 1972, married since 1997. Started trying for kids fresh-faced at 30 in 2002 and only got lucky with a surrogacy pregnancy in 2021. I just want the best for my boy, and I really do feel like I'm being stigmatized against. Oh my gosh, strong not the a-hole here. Good for you for wanting to bond with your son and have him interact with other babies. BOO to everyone who complained. Parenting is not just for moms, FFS. NTA, it's sad that society generally devalues a dad's contribution and that so many baby spaces are geared solely towards women. No father should ever be made to feel excluded. NTA, and I'm sorry. Was it the age, or was it your gender? Neither are acceptable grounds for exclusion. You were obviously there to interact with other parents and to have your son be around other children his age. You were clearly not there to creep on anyone. You were told that other dads have gone along before. Did they complain about them? Would they complain about your wife going as the same age? This is gross discrimination. Again, I'm really sorry. Unless you made inappropriate or sexist comments to the moms, they have the issue, not you. I would inform the people running the group that it is advertised as a baby and me group, not mommy and me. That you have done nothing wrong except that you are a male and it is illegal to discriminate against you for your gender. Honestly, F them. You could be a gay dad, single dad, or even a grandpa who now has custody. None of those things makes you an evil pervert. If you came without a baby, yeah, they should be uncomfortable with that, LOL. Although Bub is a little young at this point, my daughter loves story time at the library, which is free and often has a couple of dads there. Am I the antagonist for contacting child services on my ex-wife? The title sounds horrifying, and forgive me for that, but there's no other way to say what happened. Before anything, let me give you guys some context of our situation. I was married to my ex-wife for 15 years. We married really young at 18, which definitely isn't a good idea. That being said, we have 2 children together, a boy and a girl. My kids are everything to me, and even after our divorce, I make sure to be present in their lives. We have a shared custody of the children. They stay 4 days a week with her and 3 with me. I've always wanted to increase their time with me, but my ex was always against it. However, I live close enough that whenever they feel like, they call me and I go see them or take them out. I want to make sure my children have a good standard in life, as I'm quite comfortable myself as an entrepreneur. I pay a good amount of child support to them, an equivalent of $10,000, $5,000 each, monthly. This was not an order by the state, but requested by me. I want them to be able to live comfortably and not struggle. I also pay for their health care, insurance, bills, etc., and private school. However, I went to pick him up this past Thursday, as they would be with me until Sunday. When I picked them up, I noticed they were wearing some old clothes, which didn't seem like a problem. They were just home before I got them, so I thought they were just in what they felt comfortable. Unfortunately, that wasn't really the case. When we got home, and I was unpacking their bags, I noticed all the clothes they brought were old and tattered. I asked my daughter, why were their clothes so tattered? I mean, kids usually have favorite pieces of clothing, so I thought this was the case. She told me that her mother said they couldn't buy new clothes because she was saving up. Now, this was a bit strange. If they were planning an expensive situation, she could have reached out, and I'd pay for the kids. They're also my children. She never mentioned anything. I took both of them out that day and bought plenty of new clothes. That being said, this was something that really bothered me. My brother and his came by that night, and I talked to him about that. They also thought it was a very strange situation and that I should look into it. Now, I don't have the best relationship with my ex, and I'm not going to poke my nose in her life. So, I called Child Protective Services and told them what happened and that I was concerned. Here in my country, they investigate this kind of things. Well, my ex just called me, and she was absolutely enraged. Asshole was the less aggressive adjective she used for me. Apparently, she was indeed saving the child support for something, but she never told me what. Regardless, she's extremely irritated, and my mother and father seemed to agree that I should have talked to her first. I was concerned, but Reddit, am I the antagonist here? Info: if you have them 3 times a week, did you not notice their clothes getting worn out before this? Or were they always wearing decent clothes before this? Might be in a minority here, but not the a-hole. You provide her about as much child support in a month as others make in half a year. No, there is zero reason for your children to wear rags. You were right to be concerned. NTA. You send $10,000 to her every month, and out of that she can't afford new clothes for the kids? Red flag in my book. No one is saying she needs to spend all that money at once or all on new clothes. I really don't care what she's saving for as long as the kids have the things they need and deserve. $10,000 is a lot of money. She could buy clothes with $1,000 or $2,000 and put the rest into savings. The fact that she can't tell you what she's saving for is also a red flag. Child support should go to the betterment of the child, and the fact that the ex wasn't using it on the children is concerning. While I think having a conversation with her would have been better to resolve this, I understand the concern. However, in the future try actually talking to her instead of resorting to CPS, considering you have expectations as a co-parent. Something is suspicious, and I have a feeling with the clothes and her saving up for something she wouldn't disclose. She's not taking care of the kids. Am I the antagonist for getting my daughter into an expensive skincare routine? So this happened 2 days ago, and I don't really know what to do. Background: I, 34 female, have a 14-year-old daughter with my ex, 38 male. We will call them both Mia and Jeff. My ex and I broke up shortly after Mia was born, and he wasn't in her life much. He's recently started getting his life together, so Mia has been spending every other weekend with him. When Mia was 11, she started to get acne, nothing severe, but she started getting bullied a lot for it since she was one of the first kids to get it. I saw my funny outgoing daughter become introverted and depressed. It broke my heart. I had dealt with severe acne when I was younger and spent a lot on dermatologists to find something that works, and since then I have had great skin. So I thought, why not try my skincare routine and see if it works? We started doing my routine together. It's about 6-step routine, and it is made up of very high-end products. She loved it, and by the end of summer her skin was clear and she was so confident and happy. Since then, Mia has been so passionate about skincare she now wants to be a dermatologist when she's older, which I think is great. And as a bonus to me, it's become an amazing way to bond with my teenager. Every night we do our routine together and talk about things in her life. This time with her is precious to me. Now on to the issue. Mia went to her dad's house this weekend and I got a call from him losing it on me. I guess she ran out of her cleanser and asked her dad if he could buy her more. He took her, and when he saw the price, he realized he couldn't afford it. He was yelling at me saying that I set him up to look like a failure and it's ridiculous she uses products that expensive, her cleanser at $60. He said that I was spoiling her and turning her into superficial brat that only cares about her looks. I said that it was my fault I didn't realize how low she was and I would never expect him to buy her it. I offered to send him money to cover it. He refused and demanded I stop buying her these products and encouraging her love for skincare, saying it bad for someone her age. I apologized but refused to stop buying her the products she loves and supporting her passion. He called me a few choice words and hung up. I mentioned this to my mom and she took Jeff's side. She that kids her age don't need that stuff. That acne and bullying is just a part of life that kids need to deal with, and being so obsessed with her looks wasn't healthy. I tried explaining my experience at her age, how low my self-esteem got because I was bullied for my skin and lack of grooming skills. How it had cost me more in the end. I thought I was helping Mia skip a lot of the bad stuff I went through. But now I don't know if I'm doing the right thing for Mia. Maybe it isn't healthy. So I'm asking, am I the asshole with this one? You're not just saving her from being bullied. Acne can scar permanently. It's a medical condition that you had to learn to treat yourself, and you're sparing your kid the pain you went through at her age. NTA, if you look for cheaper alternatives, compare ingredient lists more than anything else. There's likely a store brand alternative that may be just as effective, but watch out all the same because switching products can cause a flare-up. NTA, while it may be helpful for your daughter to know cheaper alternatives for when she moves out, your ex's insecurity shouldn't make your daughter lose out. I bet she is feeling really vulnerable and self-conscious about all this now after his reaction. Having been in her shoes before, he needs to check himself. NTA, God forbid somebody spend money on something another person doesn't care about. Some kids buy Roblox crap. I have probably $1,000 worth of games in my Steam library that I've barely played. You are raising your daughter with consideration and empathy. You've also created a safe space for her to confide in you. Your ex doesn't have a leg to stand on in this argument, and though he may be trying to earn his daughter's trust, I'm sure he'll never have yours. What's not healthy is letting people who are not her full-time parents and whose opinion you did not ask to get in your head. Honestly, the only problem I see in the future is the affordability for your daughter to afford this when she's on her own, although seeing you have already managed that, I'm sure she will as well. Am I the antagonist for ignoring my son when he calls me by my name? My son is 15, male. I am his father. He has started calling me by my name instead of Dad. When he first did it, I asked him why, and his answer was simply that it's my name and what everyone else calls me, so he should too. I tried to dig deeper, but that's really all it is. I told him I'm his father and I deserve the respect of being called Dad by him. He has not changed. So I decided I would ignore him when he said my name. Last night at dinner I was talking to my wife and he asked if I could pass some pasta to him, and I just kept talking to my wife. He kept trying to talk to me using my name and I just ignored him the whole dinner. Later my wife said I was being childish and I should just indulge him until this phase is over. I told her she might be okay being called by her name. He does that too, but I'm not. He can call me Dad or he gets ignored. Am I the antagonist? I feel like maybe I'm descending down to his level, but at the same time I think it's a relatively harmless way to set a boundary and teach a lesson. A bit of advice: do not frame this as a respect issue, but rather that is what you prefer, and it hurts you to not have him refer to you by your desired form of address. Framing this as a power struggle is unlikely to have anyone feel good. I like being called dad by my kids, but I should probably recognize that part of why I like it is that it reinforces the father-child relationship, which I suppose is power imbalanced even with the best of relationships. With one of my kids, I repeatedly remind them that I prefer to be called dad rather than my first name, but I try not to belabor it. What is the lesson you want to teach? Is your plan an effective way to teach it? What the fuck are all these YTA comments? A key part of parenting is teaching your kids boundaries. What you want to be called and how you want to be addressed is one of them. His mother is okay with it so he can call her by name. His father isn't. So yeah, there's a lesson in there for the kid. Assuming OP's relationship with his son is otherwise normal, not the a-hole. He's teaching his son that he prefers to be addressed a certain way. If the son chooses not to, then OP won't respond. You can give in to everything your kids do and you'll keep the peace for a while, but you'll end up raising entitled assholes. It's not like OP didn't try to reason first. He did, and his son doesn't have a compelling reason. NTA edit, U/J Beta has a stellar response. OP. Do that. NTA, while I use my mom's name on occasions when we are in our work clothes, and since we work for the same company it's a joke between us with funny voices and everything, I'll use do it when I really need her attention because she knows it's serious when I do so. My ma is okay with this arrangement, but not all parents like being called anything other than mom/dad by their children, and that's valid. Honestly, this ain't even a major thing in the long run, and he'll get over it. My guess is he is starting to fully realize y'all are just regular people, and this is his way of processing it. Kids do shit like this all the time. Your son needs to learn the importance of respecting people's boundaries, and you're not wanting to be called by your name is one of yours. I think this sub has a lot of people who have been hurt by their parents, so they cannot possibly ever understand a kid might be hurting/disrespecting their parents instead, and they immediately try to magic up some way that the parent deserves it.